Welcome to this episode of ISV Talks. I'm Carol Livingston with Dynamics Connections and your host of ISV Talks. And on this episode, I have Bob McAdam, who's joining me today. Welcome, Bob.
Hey, Carol, thanks very much. Glad we could recap Community Summit together so quickly after getting home. It was a fun week.
So it started on Sunday, I guess, if you were a pre-academy training person, right? What happened on day one, on Monday?
Day one on Monday was a couple of things. One, the AI day, generative AI day on Monday, was a full day for people to learn about artificial intelligence, hear about what Microsoft's got cooking. Clearly, they put a lot of money into this, and it's going to be part of the stack sooner than later. And then the afternoon was a pre-conference partner day or half day for partners and ISVs, resellers and ISVs in the Dynamics channel, right? A lot of opportunity for Microsoft to talk about strategy as their new fiscal year kicked off July 1. And let's face it, partners and ISVs need to talk to and hear from Microsoft without customers around.
Yeah, right.
So that was a pretty full slate. I attended half of that. So from like say 1 to 3, because Cavallo had an evening event for partners and customers that day that I had to advance my networking opportunities at. But I did go for the first few hours and it was pretty good. One speaker after the next, after the next, after the next. So they really were feeding you from the fire hose. And while that's good, I know that event was kind of put together within 30 days of the event itself. And, it sold well, right? Partners want to hear from Microsoft without customers around, but a little more planning or more time to figure that all out would be better. But overall, Joe Corigliano and the rest of them did pretty well. Got to hear from Mike Morton and a few others, Cecile Flambaum and a bunch of others. So it was good. It's just a lot. They one after the other after the other. They didn't have much time to space themselves out.
Yeah, and I know you heard some feedback that people wanted to attend both the AI conference and the partner meeting, so it was at the same time, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I was talking to some of the DCI folks, including John Seifert, about that, and he's like, we're hearing that people wanted to attend the AI day and the partner pre-day, but you can't clone yourself and be in more than one place at the same time. So maybe, just maybe, we'll see something in the springtime of 24 where there is a day for partners to hear from Microsoft and meet with partners without customers around, followed by an AI day or maybe a day and a half. There's so much information about that. And they'll put those side by side. Because if you ask me, this AI stuff can be standalone pretty easily, because it's a big topic that is changing rapidly, that a lot of us are either A, not educated enough on, or B, scared to death, maybe both. So and then get the partners out there ahead of time. It could be a nice little spring break to ramp up the last 3 months of Microsoft's fiscal year. So look for that hopefully in February or March timeframe. Not to interfere with, say, Directions or Dynamics Con Live.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are still trying to grasp on how's this going to affect their clients and how they're going to incorporate it in their practices for Dynamics. And so, there's definitely a big learning curve for everyone. So,
no question. And they're starting to roll it out into Teams and things like that. So, they're going to have it rolled out into ERP pretty quickly, and it's going to become standard fare.
So after kind of day one, then there started some evening events, and then Tuesday was kind of the first day of Summit, right? The breakout sessions, the expo hall. I know the expo hall was, kind of the hub of the whole conference, I think. Of course, there are a lot of breakout sessions, a lot of great content, but talk about the expo hall. Kind of what was your experience there?
So in my view, the expo hall is one of the best parts of Summit, right? It's you can feel the pulse of the event on that floor. You walk in there, I walk in usually as they're getting started putting it together, and it's a disaster, right? Pallets and people all over the place, and they're trying to hang signs, and it's a disaster, right? It's a mess. And then you come down right before that's ready to open, and it's pristine. All the carpet's perfectly laid down. All the booths are lit up. It looks nice. It's a great place to be. I really like it. And Tuesday night, which is the kickoff of the expo around 5 or 5:30 with cocktails, and everybody's
Yeah.
all hands on deck, no sessions going on, and the advanced networking opportunity bar stations are running full steam. That's really when you get a lot of traffic. We at the Cavallo booth, 1409, we had tons of traffic on Tuesday, tons. We gave away tons of shirts, had tons of
Oh yeah,
conversation.
that's
It
right.
was
Yeah.
great. It was so busy. Like at 8 o'clock, I couldn't believe that it was over with for that first evening. But it
Yeah.
was busy and fun, and of course, you see all your old friends that you get to see maybe just once a
Right.
year, walking around, making the
Yeah.
round, trying to figure out what solution fills gaps in their back office. So it's tons of fun.
Mhm. Yeah, and the way they kind of had it laid out too was interesting because you kind of come in the entrance and then, there's sort of like big booths there and then some
Hmm.
smaller booths and then some on the back aisle. And so, if you made your way through and saw the exhibits, from all of the different sponsors, that was amazing. A lot of really, really cool products, some that, you maybe never even met before. So that's
Yeah,
always fun. And like you said, you get to see people that you haven't seen and maybe since the last conference or, reconnect with people. That's always good.
yeah.
So,
The smartest
yeah.
partners are the ones taking their customers through the expo. It can be a
Hmm.
daunting place, but if you have a tour
Right?
guide, and that tour guide can, hey, I think if the tour guide that knows your back office, hey, I think you need to look at this solution or that solution. Let's walk over here and talk to this person about this possibility or this
Yeah.
integration. That's when you really get
Yeah.
traction on the expo hall because it's a big, big place. There's a lot in there. And as
Yeah.
you know, there are new vendors entering the dynamic space who were maybe in Sage or Acumatica or something else
Mhm.
before, and most people have never heard of them, but
Yeah.
they've got
That's a
prominent
good,
positions in NetSuite or Intact or what have you.
yeah. It looked like they were sold out too. I maybe saw a couple empty spots, but it looked
Right.
like they pretty much every booth was full and a lot of activities. Somebody was giving away a car, I think.
I saw that. Yeah, someone was giving away a car. I'm like, wow, that's
Wow,
great.
right? Some had the whole NASCAR theme, which, by the way, that NASCAR experience was connected to the conference center. So one night they had I think that was Wednesday night, right? They had
Right.
a NASCAR experience in the reception there, and that's
Yep.
really cool. I really enjoyed that, seeing the stock cars and the driver memorabilia, and they had like a little driving simulation or what do you call it? The pit crew, where you can kind of compete, put a tire on or take a tire off. Anyway, it was really neat. It was really well done. Yeah,
NASCAR is
no,
big in North Carolina, especially Charlotte.
it's
Charlotte
big.
Motor Speedway is a pretty amazing place. My first solo GP implementation was at the Charlotte Motor Speedway there up in the north side of town. But yeah, you're right.
Oh,
The NASCAR Hall of Fame attached to the convention center. Everybody walked right over and jumped right in,
hmm.
and certainly Dynamic Communities took advantage of that setup and got people over there for Wednesday evening. And I heard the turnout was really quite good.
Yeah, it was really great. I really enjoyed that. And so, and one thing that was nice about it was you could kind of do a little bit of, kind of view the museum and the Hall of Fame and all of
Yeah,
the awards and stuff, but had time to talk too. Like I ran into people and got a chance to chat with people and you're not yelling over a karaoke band like some of the other
like
events.
the next night. Yeah,
Like the next night a Power GP Online party, which was great. But it's not one of those you can go to meet people. It's hard to talk over that
that's true. You gotta rest
entertainment.
your vocal cords for those late night parties. That's true.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Anything else as far as other events? I know they had other things going on the Legends stage, like they did the Legends Awards, which were great
Mhm.
on Thursday night, but
Yep.
what else?
Well, let's see. We sponsored an event Tuesday night with Avalara and Bill and SPS Commerce
Oh,
and
right.
Stock. And I know I'm going to forget one. I think there were half a dozen of us that were there. But it was at Fahrenheit, which is on the outdoor top floor bar at the Hyatt place. And let me tell
Yep.
you, what a posh place. I should hang out at places like this more often. A beautiful view of the skyline. You could walk outside and see that, or you could be inside in the fancy bar. We had a VIP hour from 8:30 to 9:30 with special guests that each of the ISVs that sponsored invited. And then at 9:30, everybody else who had a brace could come up. And at 9:30, the elevators just opened and people just flowed in to Fahrenheit. It was packed and such a nice place. I mean, really classy and nice. It was a great downtown experience. And I'm glad that Avalara, who did most of the heavy lifting, it was fun.
SBS Commerce. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it was a
exactly.
long list of really good, strategically chosen ISVs. And we do a lot of business with Avalara. We do a lot of business with SPS Commerce and Netstock and the rest of them. So I mean, it made sense for us to be in that mix, and we were pleased to be a part of it. So it was fun.
Yeah, good.
And Thursday, we were asked to sponsor the Power GP Online Party, which was the most advanced networking opportunity of the week. Something like 600 or 700 people showing up at the Fillmore 9 p.m. till 2 a.m. I made it till 1:30. Not bad for me, but it was fun. I mean, you were there. You saw how many people showed up. The GP folks got a red carpet and a gold bracelet for the night. That was cool. But other UG members can show up and hang with us because they know that's where the party's going to be that Thursday night. And again, specific sponsors in the GP space: Winthrop, David Musgrave, Rockton Software, Notice, who we do a lot of business with at Cavallo, and Cavallo was specifically asked to sponsor because we are so dedicated to Dynamics GP and our customers who want to stay on Dynamics GP. So it was a great night. Chris Dopkins and crew were wonderful, gracious hosts.
Very good hosts.
I'm ready for next year. I am ready to do that every year. That's a fun time.
It's a fun time. And, and then everybody seemed to be having a good time and getting to know each other in a different way. But I played cornhole. And it was pretty fun. And I know they had other things going on activity wise, but so tell us, I guess, a little bit about some of the breakout sessions. There were lots of rooms and breakout sessions in great small and big rooms. I know a couple of the partner showcases I tried to squeeze into, like they were packed out pretty much. But they also had the GP general session, the BC NAV general session, F&O, CE, of course. And I did attend the BC NAV one, which was great updates from Microsoft, But I'll have to say, I think the GP general session and the additional session that we did on the future GP was especially good. And I think the vibe is so totally different, between those two sessions. With the BC NAV, it was very much focused on new products and new things happening in that space. But ours was definitely more community focused and a lot of great information. I'm going to share a quick slide here of some pictures.
Let's see those slides. That's a good slide with some good pictures from our Future So Bright Day on Wednesday afternoon. There's you and me taking the survey, making sure in our matching Cavallo wardrobe collection, I Heart GP t-shirts, which, by the way, every single one of them was gone. I heard from my colleagues that after you and I were up there wearing those,
I know
everybody went to booth 1409 and just cleaned us out.
Everyone wanted that shirt. They were stopping me in the hallways like, "Where'd you get that shirt?" And so I was sending everybody over to Cavallo's booth. But you guys, basically there were none left after the session. Everybody went and got their own. So it was great. So talk about, there were two sessions, right? There was the GP general session. So kind of the updates from Microsoft, kind of the new features, new releases, the awards. And we talked a little bit during that session about GP and what's the future of that, right? And so what was kind of fun was we had a little interactive poll during that session, and I was kind of surprised by the results. I don't know if you were. We polled the audience and asked them kind of what have you heard about GP? Is Microsoft still going to support it? And kind of surprising what people said.
Yeah. I mean, they certainly have heard from Microsoft or a Microsoft competitor or their partner or just on the grapevine that GP is going away, which we know is not true, right? GP won't be sold to prospective customers as of April 2026, but for existing customers, 99% of whom are sitting in the audience, the beat rolls on for Dynamics GP around support, licenses, new functionality, etc. So yeah, there's a lot of FUD flying around out there. And the survey that we took, you and I, at the very end of the general session kind of proves that out. And which is why we did this session, right? We want people to have the facts around what Microsoft has announced, which was earlier this year in April, so that they, as stakeholders at their company, can make the best decision on the future of their back office. They want to make decisions based on facts, not based on rumor and innuendo and what competitors are saying about the future of this application. So, I'm trying to do my part, and I know you are as well, and our panelists, to know that if you want to stay on Dynamics GP, you are in a large crowd that is interested in doing much the same. So it's important people know.
Absolutely. Yeah, the other thing that we after the general session and the future of GP session was a little over an hour, but we did go over the modern, life cycle and kind of talk about some facts around that, like when does support end, how many customers are planning to stay. There was actually a Dynamics community survey that was done with over 400 GP customers, and we reviewed that, and I was really surprised by that, how many customers were saying they're going to stay on GP more than 5 years. I mean, it was probably in the 80% range. I can't remember the exact number, but
yeah. Well, think about this for a second. If you're a Dynamics GP end user company, you've had to make a lot of very quick decisions over the past 3 years, right? We had to figure out how to get people to work from home, probably over terminal services during the pandemic. Then you've had supply chain issues, some of which continue to linger. You've got the high cost of energy. You've got interest rates that are coming up and probably staying up for a while. I mean, I think most companies on GP would rather just have a couple of years of normalcy and growth and scalability where they can build up some capital and then decide, okay, in a few years, if I want to leave, then I've got the capability of doing so. But the past three years have been craziness at times for a small to mid-sized business running Dynamics. And a little bit of normalcy, a little bit of standard fare business as usual would be welcome,
Yeah, and I think our goal with the session is really to provide the facts, that Microsoft is supporting and still releasing new features, 20 to 30 per year for the next 5 years. And then there's support beyond that. So 2028 for the modern life cycle and beyond. So we know that, so we can feel confident in that. The other thing that we did was, we had a panel of customers. You had 4 customers that you brought on stage to talk about their plans, their commitment to GP, how they're still, utilizing modern technologies along with Dynamics, and that was really great.
Yeah. We have 2 people who are working in functional areas and 2 people working behind the scenes with servers and the network, and they're all saying the same thing. For various reasons within their companies, they want to stay put on Dynamics GP. John Arnold, who was the guy who sat opposite of me, he's got some really complex processes going on within inventory and purchase orders and whatnot, and sales, and combining things, really advanced bills of material and other combinations of things that he's doing in GP. And he's telling me, we've spent a lot of time getting this to where it is, where it runs like a well-oiled machine. For us to just pick this up and move it to the cloud would be so complex, we would have to rebuild it all over again. And he really gave some excellent examples. I thought the ISV panel that I participated in, that you moderated, was also good. And, Chris Dobkins made an excellent point, which I reiterated when I had my turn. And that is, Microsoft is not cranking out the number of new features that we would all like to see or have seen in the past, right? But the ISVs, like Cavallo, like Greenshades, like Ingevity, like all of them, are continuing to bring new functionality to their products. They're the ones bringing the new stuff to GP and keeping it fresh and keeping it new. So it was worth reiterating that point, because Cavallo is committed to GP customers, not just maintaining what we have, but adding to it more integrations, more functionality, listening to what our customers want added. You know, we have a team doing that all the time, and we're committed to GP, and we're putting our development money where our mouth is.
Yeah, exactly. And that was kind of the point of the panels. We had various ISVs that are committed to GP. They're still adding new functionality and using and leveraging Microsoft technologies and new modern technologies, AI, Power Platform, so many things that they each shared, you know. And so, yeah, like you said, the ISV community is still bringing new features, new enhancements to continue to maximize and extend the GP platform.
Yeah.
So
And I don't know about you, and you're closer to this than I am. I haven't heard of one, not even one ISV that has traditionally developed code for Dynamics GP say that they're getting out of the business and they're not going to support their offerings. I haven't heard of one. So when a partner, and I've heard partners say, oh, we've got some ISVs in the GP space that are going to discontinue their support. I see no evidence of that. Zero.
Yeah, I'd say most of them that have been in the GP space are still committed to the GP space. So there might be a few out there that like are what they call themselves ERP agnostic, right? And so maybe they're not necessarily interested in supporting all the ERPs out there. But yeah, definitely I feel like the the ISV community is definitely committed to their GP customers. And kind of back to your point about customers and you know making a decision to move to a different ERP system, that's a major investment. I mean, and this might not be the right time for their business. It might not be the right initiative, right? They've got other things on their plate. So we need to support them as a community, as those customers are still going to be, and they're still loving GP. Like I have heard from partners that their customers love GP. So they're definitely going to be some GP customers out there for a while.
Sure. They want to stay put, and that's fine. It should be up to them. We have customers that have expressed interest in our cloud products for Business Central, and we're going to sit down with them and help them decide if it makes sense for them and the partners we partnered with in the BC space. But at the same time, if they want to stay on GP because they like what they've they've invested in it heavily, everyone's trained on it, they're getting the performance and scalability that they want, then they should stay. I mean, it's nice that we're riding both sides of that fence, right? You can come to BC, you can stay on GP, Cavallo is going to be there for you. And I'm sure the other ISVs that are in the BC space now are much the same. You know?
Yeah, and if and when, you know, a GP customer wants to move to Business Central, that their ISVs are going to be in that space too, which is great.
So that's exactly right. We're almost all of the panelists, maybe a couple that you had on the ISV panel weren't in the BC space, but most of them were. I'd say 2/3. Looking at the photo here of that motley crew on stage, all 10 of us.
It was a motley crew and a very good group of GP people there. So let's just kind of wrapping up. You know, I know next year they're announcing that they didn't officially announce it at the summit, but I heard people start talking about the next location next year is San Antonio, right? So that's pretty exciting.
It is pretty exciting. San Antonio is a nice city. It's a large city. There's a lot of history there with the Alamo. There's the River Walk, which is amazing.
Amazing,
Dynamics Con Live was there in September of 22 when Soft Synergy was there in September of 23. And now we get to go back a third time for Community Summit North America 2024.
Oh, that's right.
That's exciting.
So October 2024. So that's October 13th through the 17th next year. And by the way, they do still have an early bird special. They announced at Summit, if you were getting the conference emails, they have a $999 special until October 31st. That's a pretty big savings. So if you know you're going to go, definitely you can take advantage of that savings.
I think that price is only for end user companies. So people like you and me probably can't get that, but
but
We'll
but
figure that out.
users can for sure.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. So users, if they know they're going to go back, they should
yep,
sign up now, get the write-off this year, and secure that price, because I know it's going to go up like $200 in November.
right. So, well, good talking with you, Bob. Thanks for joining
Likewise,
me
Sarah.
to kind of do a recap on Summit. It was a quick week. It felt like it went by so fast, and it was so great to see everyone, though. I really had a lot of good conversations. I'm sure you did too.
Yeah, these kind of events are way better than the virtual ones, and this is where
Yep,
you see your lifelong career,
right.
professional friends, and it's a lot of moments you'll never forget. It's really great to hang out with everybody, present company most certainly included.
Thanks, Bob. All right, guys. Well, thank you. I'll see you guys on the next ISV episode. So thank you, friends, and thank you, Bob. Bye-bye.
But